right? Would you say, Josh, that musicians in the world take their craft more seriously than the musicians in the church? Do you see the church as the standard of the music put out in the church inferior to, let's say, secular bands?
Um, from my perspective, I would say no. I know it sometimes it appears that way, but let me see if I could quantify my answer. Right?
Nice.
Most I don't have a percentage because I didn't go and do a poll or anything. Right? My observation, most of the secular musicians are actually church musicians.
I know he was going to say that.
Right now, I don't know say I agree with it, but that's a whole nother
AC/DC? What about Kiss and
by itself,
AC/DC?
right? That's a whole other topic by itself.
Right, yeah.
Most of the musicians, they grew up in church, they start off playing in church, and they are seeked out
That's a fact.
by the ones outside in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, they decide to take the opportunity. So I'll say what I was gonna say because that will start the next debate.
Say it.
Right?
Nah, the name of the show is Real Talk.
Real Talk,
though.
but you can hold it for now because we coming up to the next question. I think that's one of your questions to do with money.
Okay.
Yeah, but you good, yeah, you good.
Yeah.
He was going
So-
there, but go ahead.
Yeah.
So
Because you just said it. Yeah.
based on what I've seen, I would say I'm not sure. I think what happens is when the secular artists and stuff come and get them from the church is left depleted, right? And then they kind of have to start from scratch to develop more musicians, and the cycle kind of continues now for the most part now. So I would,
Josh, let me stop you. Let me ask you. You saying this is how it is in Trinidad?
yes, where are you from?
Yeah, to have plenty people. You should know that, though. To people who's be
Let me just say
soca
this,
teams
right?
and they playing drum and all kind of thing. But go ahead.
Let me just say this. I mean, and bless God that I probably never watched Soca Monarch. I never watch it either, right? But most, again, I don't have a percentage, but most, if not all of the musicians that play for Soca Monarch are Christian musicians.
Correct.
I have to pause there.
So you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah.
Let me not say Christian. Yeah,
But we know what you're talking about, the Christians.
Gospel
yeah,
musicians.
Yeah, they.
yeah,
But go ahead, yeah.
musicians.
I learned that today.
Yeah.
Most of it, and I know Aaron could
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
yeah.
Slightly confused.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that the world takes it more seriously. If I'm being honest, I think the church has more talent. And sometimes the church doesn't know how to make use of the talents. And unfortunately, the world sometimes they're wiser than us.
Yeah.
And
Well, the Bible
they grab a hold of our resources.
Okay. So, with that said, Josh, are you saying that if the church paid their musicians better or paid them at all, that you would see a greater commitment within the church and the music or the quality of music that comes out of the church?
So I'd say this: it would help, but there's no guarantee because at the end of the day, it's a hard posture. It's about your why, right?
Yeah.
And so if your why doesn't line up with more money from the church, then somebody would always have an excuse as to why they would go out, right?
Yeah.
But it definitely would help. I know that for certain.
I can train that 2 cents. Well, you got. Yes,
Yeah.
let me hear you.
I also think pastoral care has a lot to do with it as well. The
Come
care
on.
of the church. A lot of churches treat musicians like musicians.
Say that again?
A lot of churches treat musicians like they're just musicians.
I
and
got you. Okay. Okay.
So that we
People.
don't see them as a soul. We don't see them as an image bearer. We see them as the person who comes to set the atmosphere for what needs to happen. And so a lot of the times they can come, play, collect the money or whatever and leave. And
Mm-hmm.
as long as they come back next Sunday, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I get
But
you.
there is no shepherding, there is no discipling of them, there is no calling them during the week to find out how they're going, how things happening in the family. The same care that you would show an intercessor in the church, you don't necessarily show the musician of the church. And I think that also contributes to them playing elsewhere.
Gotcha. Okay.